So hi, I'm Jason Kridner. It's very nice to be speaking with you today, and thank you for the organizers for the Open Hardware Summit to have me out here. There's been so many powerful messages given today, and so many stories that people have told that have reached me personally. And I think that those messages that you're hearing, most of these are really geared towards you. But a lot of these people here are also doing very good at engaging the rest of the world. And what I'd really like to tell you here today is that as a community of open hardware developers, I'd really like for us to think about what our message should be to the broader world, because the right message is extremely powerful. So I'm Jason Kridner. I'm an employee of Texas Instruments and a founder of BeagleBoard.org. But when I started so a lot of you don't really know me, and when I started programming, it was this book, and this is a book that my mother gave me when I was about 8 years old, and I learned to program, sitting at a TRS-80, and the only way that I could do that, I wanted to play games, right? I mean, I'm a kid. What am I really doing, right? I'm learning to program because I was typing in these games and playing them, and I wanted to change the games. I wanted to cheat. And so I said, anytime that the name of the player was coming in, if it detected the name was Jason, well, he won every time. And that was a very simple experience for me to get the taste of what a computer is, and what is this programming and logic flow, right? So what is this thing? But I wanted to know more. Right, so I went out and got this other book, also at Radio Shack, and it was Getting Started in Electronics. And I honestly feel like I have better intuition building every single circuit in that book than I got through 4 years of engineering education, electronics engineering education. And I mowed lawns and spent every dime and dollar I earned going and buying the electronics. But things have changed a lot since this was your first experience with technology, right? We had a lot of control here, and not a lot of other technology getting in the way of our experience. Now, if I tried to do the same thing with kids today, they're never going to waste the time typing. I know they can just go to a website, click, and play games. No need to modify, right? Or they can find somebody else to do that. And they'll never be able to go and just instantly be able to make the games that have that same gratification level they have of just downloading on their app on their phone, right? So technology has changed very much, and you can't engage kids and people wanting to learn to make in the same way. And in my I've been an engineer for 22 years at TI. And I saw an opportunity to go and make this thing, the BeagleBoard, right? So it's a little single board computer. And the vision here was to make electronics as easy to build as creating a web page, right? So I went and we went off and made this thing and started up this BeagleBoard.org thing. And if you plug it in, you open up a web browser, and it actually has a built-in tutorial in JavaScript. And the vision here is that if you can edit a web page, right, you can do HTML, maybe some CSS or maybe not, and a little bit of JavaScript. That's all the skills that you need to start learning how to actually connect up physical devices and start, programming in the physical world. And that's something that's still engaging for people. Maybe I can't build Halo. I'm not keeping up with the latest games. Maybe I can't build the latest and greatest video games. But I felt like I could get people engaged in understanding computers, so that it's not a future where technology is just unapproachable anymore, and we don't have anybody that has the skill to understand it to really build things. It just becomes this mystery force. But something like this, my vision is that we can have this web page, you can start doing all these physical interactions, and really get people engaged in what is a computer, and what can you do with programming. At the time, I really didn't know much about this Arduino thing. It turns out that that's a very powerful thing. It's taught a lot of people to do physical programming, And so find out about that later. But this is really a very common theme, and I think that most of you in this room feel very similar to the way I do, right? Some people, just want to make things and to sell those things to other people and just, rule the world, right? They just want to, collect money or collect praise for the things that they created. But I think that most of you in here are very much motivated by not just making those things and having them be consumed, but actually enabling other people to do those things with you, right? You get so much fun and passion out of making and creating things that you want to see other people have that same joy that you get from the feeling of creating something new and understanding something new and fundamental. And that's where you see some other really fantastic and interesting things come along. So there's a very similar concept, I think, to what got me motivated doing this, and also for a kind of similar paradigm. And I work for a semiconductor company. We make a chip. Hey, it aligns with our goal. I love the statement about if you can align stupidity and greed with your goals, that you can do wonderful things. Right? That statement was great earlier. And so I had that sort of opportunity, right, to align what I wanted to do as a personal passion with something that aligned well with my big corporate environment. And so other people saw that model. Maybe I'm going to go ahead and ask a question. How many of you have heard of the Raspberry Pi? How many of you believe it's open hardware? I saw most of the hands go down. I think it's interesting because I saw several presentations here that referred to the Raspberry Pi as being open hardware. And I'd be very interested to find out what your definition of open hardware is that would make it fit within that model. So we have a very nicely defined definition of what open hardware is as part of the Open Hardware Association, right? So you can't get the manuals for the full chip. You can't actually buy the chips. The schematic isn't in a source format that you can modify, and the layout for the board is also not something you modify. So they've come out with a very powerful message, and I think it's a fantastic message, and it's a very good message, and they've done an excellent job of delivering it. And that's a $25 computer that gets kids engaged in learning and programming again, and that is a laudable goal. And guess what? A lot of people share that goal. A lot of us want to see the world a better place, and a place where people are learning these skills, and they've done a fantastic job of making that happen. But what they haven't done is made it open hardware. So we did something a little bit different for BeagleBoard at the start, right? We've always been open hardware, and that's been a requirement from me personally about having anything labeled as BeagleBoard.org, that you can get the schematics in source format, you can get the board layout in source format. All of the materials in the BOM are available through distribution in quantity 1. But we've had a fundamental problem in that the pricing for the processor, we had very favorable pricing on the processor for our boards. And that means that it's very difficult for somebody to build something else at any sort of similar price point. So I'm excited that after much fighting, the folks that I've been speaking with my company, the marketing folks, are going to drop that 1,000-unit pricing by more than half. So I think it's some stupid number like $25 today, which how do you build a $50 board if you have a $25 processor? It's not possible. Don't try to get there. But they are going to drop that for the highest end processor to something under $12. So that's pretty cool. But in any case, I think there are a lot of you that have your own visions about what you'd like to be and knowledge about how it is the best that you can reach other people that need to learn about the power of programming, and then power of electronics and power of technology in general, so that you can put those powers in the hands of people that want to that do have that empathy, right? So that do care about that user experience and not just putting everybody in the largest bucket possible in order to sell to them. And if you don't use that TI chip, if you use some other chip, but I do want to see an open hardware platform being preferred for people for doing education and for them to get first taste of like what a computer really is, so that they can get underneath it and find out all about how it works and they can derive their own things out of it. So I would just say that we don't really have that message, I think, as part of the Open Source Hardware Association that's as simple to understand. That's not just something that's focused on us, right? We're a nice community that has some fundamental core beliefs, and that open source hardware is a prerogative. But what we don't necessarily have is that message to the average person. And just in the discussions just last night about people, well, it doesn't really, not everybody really needs to know about that. It's not about the general public. It's just, as long as the people actually designing these platforms kind of understand the value, that's all that's necessary. And I say that is absolutely, positively wrong. The general public, with all of the power it has to make decisions for all of us, is who we need to speak to and have them understand how is open source hardware important. Homemade pie always tastes better. So I think that all the wonderful people speaking today, so many brilliant people in this room with so many great things. But I would like for us to really get together as an organization, think about not just about all the wonderful things that we can create and all the things that people do with them, but how do we let people know what the importance is of open source hardware and create that message so that it's preserved and that technology is actually something that we can engage at all levels into the future. So I hope you'll work with Oshawa on that. Thank you.